You get more out of life when you drink bleach.
VR Chat the movie was kind of... I mean, the movie had kind of an interesting concept. A post-apocalyptic world where everyone is fixated on this one massive online game that can suck away all of your money if you die. I mean, realistically, no one would play this game, but it's actually a pretty clever commentary on microtransactions. But pretty much everything else in this film was about as average an experience as you can get. It's kind of funny how much hype this movie got just because of all the pop culture references and the fact that it was directed by Steven Spielberg. Because much to my surprise, there's a lot of people out there that thought the book was kind of shit. It seemed like Spielberg wanted to take a book that had a profitable idea and turn it into something that was worth remembering. But did he do that? No, not really. It's obvious that this movie wants to be the next Who Framed Roger Rabbit or Wreck-It Ralph, but instead of focusing exclusively on movies or video games, it focuses on pop culture as a whole. But what made Who Framed Roger Rabbit work was that the main focus was on Eddie Valiant, a well-written, likable character with a tragic backstory who had to put his past prejudice aside and help an innocent tune and take down a murderer. It was an interesting conflict, and the references to old Disney and Warner Brothers cartoons was just icing on the cake. And I can't say anything about Wreck-It Ralph because I still haven't seen it yet. As for Ready Player One, it's pretty obvious that the main focus is the spectacle. I can barely remember the main character's motivation. Something about getting a new house for his parents that hate his guts or whatever, I don't know. Hell, I don't even remember this guy's name. So, okay, the characters aren't very interesting. What about the references and the spectacle of it all? Well, the only reference that stood out to me as clever was the way they used the chestburster from Alien. The Zemeckis Cube would have been clever had they not explained how it worked as it was happening. The Zemeckis Cube turns back time by 60 seconds when you solve it! Our reaction to every other reference in the film was just so underwhelming. Like, oh look, it's a DeLorean. That's kinda cool, even though I already saw that in the trailer. Oh, it's the Spartans from Halo. That's pretty cool. Wait, they've got the Iron Giant killing people? Isn't that, like, completely missing the point of his character? Now, as for the puzzles themselves, while they are visually interesting and fun to watch, the movie tries to act like these are incredibly hard puzzles to solve. And yet the solutions themselves are like the simplest shit ever. And unfortunately, in order to talk about this part of the film, not only do I have to give away spoilers, but I also have to spoil one of the films it's referencing. So if you have any interest in watching this movie or The Shining, just skip to this point of the video. Okay, am I the only one who thought it was kinda dumb that it took everybody in this world 5 years to figure out that the key to win the race is to drive backwards? After all, the main character got this clue from this museum-looking place that was open to the public. I mean, if that were me, I would've just gotten so sick of the race that I would've just driven backwards as a joke, then feel flabbergasted that I actually solved the puzzle. And honestly, that would've made for a much more interesting setup. Now, like I said before, the movie for the most part is just mediocre and inoffensive. But the next puzzle is the only part of the film that actually got on my nerves. Now, in this part of the film, the main characters have to go inside the film The Shining in order to solve the next puzzle. Now, I understand stuff like the elevator scenes and the twins were already parodied to death in The Simpsons and Family Guy, and yes, this film references those scenes too, but did they have to make a god-awful parody of the bathtub scene with the decaying lady? If the whole point of this part of the film is to introduce Stanley Kubrick to a new generation, why would you spoil one of the most shocking moments of The Shining and make a joke out of it? It wasn't even funny, it seriously felt like something from a Freeberg and Seltzer film. So the last puzzle involves playing a bunch of Atari games, and it turns out all you have to do to solve this puzzle is find the cheat code in Adventure. And again, this movie acts like it was so hard to solve this, and yet I don't even give a shit about Atari, and even I knew the cheat code in Adventure. You'd think for the last puzzle you'd try to give us some information on video games that not even most gamers know about. Alright, so like I said, this movie wasn't really horrible, just kinda meh. Which is a shame too, because I love Steven Spielberg, and near the end of this film I can feel that positive Spielberg vibe that you get from watching his films, but this is no E.T. And sure, over the past decade and a half, he's mastered the art of Oscar bait, but I can't think of the last time I cared to watch his films on the big screen. I mean, sure, there was Super 8, but even then, he was only credited as the producer, and that was way back in 2011. I don't know, just speaking as a fan of Spielberg, I'm hoping one day he'll make the next big Spielberg classic that we've all been waiting for. But as of now, the most I can say about modern Spielberg films is that they're just sort of there. Nothing too amazing, but not offensively horrible either. I mean, as far as I know, the only thing this man has done that's offensively horrible was denying Carl's Jr. the right to serve Spielburgers.
It's recently come to my attention that Carl's Jr. wants to rename the charbroiled sliders Spielburgers, and they're pretty good, but I'm passing. Cease and desist. Can't do it. Sorry, guys.
But why, though? Hey, this is a little update video. It's obviously not scripted, but I figured I'd keep you guys in the know of what's going on with this channel. You know, instead of leaving you guys hanging like I've always been. I'm currently working on 2 projects. First project is that Last Jedi video that I promised, and another project is a super secret project involving another YouTuber, so be on the lookout for that. That's pretty much it.